Hello. Welcome to Find You Fridays with me, Lorene. That would be this person sitting right here in front of you. Hello. How has your week been? I know for me it's been one much more settled week this week, definitely. As many of us know, there has been a lot of energies and stuff coming up over the last little while. Hi, Melinda. Hi, Christine. How are you, lovely? Hi, Juanita. Hello. All right. So, what an interesting time we have in the world right now, don't we? Golly gosh. I think, what are we today? The 7th. So right now we are in new moon energy. New moon, new me. I am planting my seeds. New moon, new me, new energy. It's a great song and I love that song, and it's certainly been floating through my head for the last few days. So yay. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Tamara. Still getting over the upgrade? Nice. Love it, Melinda. I love it. So, let's, gosh, with you, there's 6 of you already. My goodness, how did I get so lucky? So quickly. So before I go too much further, because by the end of the show, I'm often dreamyland with you all. On Sunday, if any of you are local Adelaideans, I am going to be holding a stall at the Mount Barker Psychic Fair at the Okendorrick House. It starts at 10 o'clock and goes through till 5. So I'll be there along with a whole bunch of other really awesome people. The last one I went to in the summertime, I ended up picking up a couple of pairs of earrings, and I didn't get anything else, but I did meet some really awesome people. So yeah, I'd highly recommend you get along and check us out. Come say hi. That would be awesome. I have somebody who's already booked in at the 10 o'clock slot. So how do we get so lucky? And I'm looking forward to just seeing how many more amazing people I can connect with and, treat to a little half-hour session, because I love doing those little ones too. And then we make connections and we get to share some space. Hi, Edwina. Hi, darling. How are you? So yeah, this Sunday, 10 till 5 at Okendorrick House up here in Mount Barker. That's where I'll be. All right, so let us get busy, because I have already had some lovely people donate. Thank you. Let me just bring that up. Cool bananas. Fabulous. All right. Who wishes to do the weekly reading today? It's always fun when they can't make up their mind. Had a nice little 6/6 portal, which is lovely, which was quite conveniently on the new moon, full moon. No, new moon, full moon. Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't remember which way around. I'm pretty sure we're in a new moon right now, because the full moon, I remember that really distinctly, the last one, because that was when I was heading home on a Thursday. So yes. Which must mean Have I got my thingies wrong there? Oh, I have to. It is a new moon. That is supposed to be a full dot. There we go. That's better. That's what I was getting confused. My little calendar. My diary has gone from being something that I track my clients and things like that in to having moon cycles and thank yous and gratitudes, and I love it. Isn't it funny how our technology changes as we change? I I am doing a book club. Juanita, I love new moons too. Full moons wipe me out often. More often than not, they make me really, really, really tired. But new moons, they give me this massive boost of energy, and it's like I can do so much really, really quickly, and I love it. And even doing, physical upgrades and all that sort of stuff is so much easier. I find if my cycle, my lovely lady cycle, matches up with a full moon, oh my Lord, it's so much harder to work through. But if it matches up with a new moon, it's usually pretty easy and it flows quite quickly. Whereas a full moon, it drags out so long, and I'm like, oh, come on already. Are we done yet? So yes, I love new moons for many reasons. One of them, it gives me a huge energy boost, and it's like, the only downside is that I find I don't want to sleep as much. So on Wednesday night, I was up until after midnight doing cross stitch and watching Heartland, and yes, guilty pleasure, happy pleasure, I should say. I started watching Heartland, and Netflix has only got it from season 7, and I'm like, that's fine by me. They sort of have enough references to the older episodes without me having to try and track them down. It's just so wholesome and just so comforting in a way that only a sort of a drama soap opera type thing can be. But the thing I really love about it is that it's set in Alberta, Canada. And it's so cool because that's where my friend, my very dear friend, lives, in Alberta, in Edmonton. And I'm just like, it's a weird kind of like, oh, I feel like I'm already tapping into the energy of where she lives before I go there next year. It's really cool. So I'd like to know, what are your happy little pleasures, the things that create a little bit of like a space in your world, a bit of like, comfort, and a little bit of like rest for our weary brains, because man, we do a lot of thinking, we do a lot of problem solving. I'd love to know. So let's have a look at this reading from the 8th of June. I can't believe we're in June already. This is bonkers. The 8th of June through to the 14th. For the collective, how can we best work with these lovely new energies? Love, love, love a new moon. Oh, dear, dear. And Tamara, your first cab off the ranks today. So thank you for your donation. I really appreciate it. If you would like to pop your question in the chat nowish, or whenever you see this, hear this, and then we can work on that next without too much delay. So for those of you who are following me on my normal Facebook page, you'll see I got my car detailed today. Oh my goodness. And it was so funny because I put up this post in the Adelaide Hills chat, I think it was. And what I wish to do, because I talk to my car and I talk to each other. We're weird like that. And I asked her what kind of person that she would like. And she was like, I just wish to have somebody who is like a small business owner who loves what they do and will take good care of me. And I'm like, okay. So basically I put that in a post, I'm looking for recommendations for a car detailer who is, not exorbitantly priced, reasonably priced, who loves what they do and, is kind of like a local as such. And there was a few recommendations from a few different places. And Dave from Classic Car Detailers, I think is his name, Classic Car something. He today, his partner actually popped up in that post, and it was so cool because I was able, Classic Car Care, there we go. He's the 3 C's. And he was just such a pleasure to deal with. And there was one other person that sort of popped up quite a lot. But this is where you've got to use your intuition, right? And this other person replied really promptly, like actually just messaged me really promptly. But the funny thing is like in the comments, for somebody who there was a real weirdness. It was like sometimes they'd just sort of like, because I asked specifically for what their experience was, like what are your recommendations? And this person who messaged me really quickly, they didn't actually really have any recommendations as such. There was a few people just sort of put up his name or his business name, but didn't actually say much about it. And I was like, and something just felt wonky. And I'm not going to say who it was because like you've got to use your own awareness, and I'm not here to poo-poo on other people's businesses. But what I can say is that Dave from Classic Car Care, brilliant. Really super reasonably priced. I even gave him a tip because it was just like I gave him a bit extra because I was just so happy with what he did. And he gave Mirabelle a brilliant clean today. And I've not seen her this beautiful and shiny and just mwah, in such a long time. And I was so happy. And we didn't do the seats because it's winter and it's too hard to get them dry. But so if you're anywhere in Adelaide and you want to have your car detailed for a really reasonable price, he will come to you. And he rocked up on time, unlike another tradie that we had today. And he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And all I had to do is, obviously pay him in cash and then give him a coffee or two. Well worth the coffee or two, I have to say. But yeah, just such a pleasure. And I'd much rather support a small business person than somebody who's like big with heaps of staff and three properties or rentals or whatever locations and blah blah blah. It's like, nah, you're doing okay. I'd much rather work with somebody who's a little bit more like me, down to earth. Not running around in necessarily a next fancy car. All right, so let's have a look at our reading for the week to come. Okay. So this week, for the 8th of June through to the 14th. First of all, we have Mauve, or Mauve. I say Mauve, which is enjoy clear hearing. All right. So what I'm getting from this one is that you might notice, because so your clear audience skills may be, hi Lisa, might be activated a little bit more this week. And with that, you might find that you have, if you're getting a lot of ear popping or stuffiness in your ear, like I had it today when I was in a session today, didn't have it beforehand, didn't have it afterwards, but had it almost during the whole session. And it wasn't till we got to near the end where there was some stuff coming up about this client and somebody else that they were dealing with. And I was like, and then all of a sudden my ears cleared. And I was like, that's funny. So if you find this week that you're getting a lot of funky ear stuff going on and feeling a bit weird, like bubbly poppiness in your ears, it's your skills around hearing your team and being aware of those finer sounds and tunes and tones and notes of nature, of things around you. You might be finding that you're actually able to communicate in a different way with, like for me, I can speak with my car. And that's because my ears, my clear audience has activated and has been activated for a long time. But if you've already got those skills, they're going to accentuate this week. Okay. The next card that we've got is Watermelon, which is to have fun with your inner child. Now, when I see this card coming up, that tells me generally, and let's see if I'm, yep, this week is no exception. There's going to be some moments where you feel very, very serious. There's going to be lots of moments and maybe some specific moments which are going to be super challenging. And in those moments, this card is reminding you. So maybe get something that's colored watermelon, or maybe an image of a watermelon or something like that, to have maybe in your workplace, put it up as a post-it note or an image somewhere. So when you see it, you go, oh, that's right. I have to find some fun things to do today. I have to remember to smile. I have to remember to find that space inside of me, which is to do with my inner child, so that I can have some, like, not be so serious. Okay. So I've got to bring some balance back to those serious moments. The next card that we've got is Pearl, which is connect to the divine, which we do every time that we drop into Mother Earth and up and bringing Father Sky down, bring Mother Earth up and we expand out. We are connecting to the divine. It's also about connecting to the divine within. And given the last card that we've got today, I can see why this is popping up. So when we come in and we center ourselves and remember we are our own healers, we are the infinite within, this is connecting to the divine. When you expand out and you realize that your connection and your ability to connect beyond, the universes and further than that, that is connecting into the divine. When we use theta healing techniques and we go up to the 7th plane, that is connecting to the divine. If you pray and you pray in a way that has that beautiful space of expansiveness and peacefulness and the feeling of just being wrapped up in love, that is connecting to the divine. When we go out in nature and you feel that deliciousness and the fresh air and everything and your cells and molecules in your body just go and everything relaxes. That's connecting to the divine. So that's something to remember this week as well. If you're feeling really tense and uptight, that's a reminder to connect back into the divine. We've got Cherry, which is live an extraordinary life. Okay. So I feel like this is upside down, but it's come out this way. So this is telling me that you might have some moments this week where you go, oh my God, is this all there is? Is this what my life has come to? This is a reminder that you too can live an extraordinary life. And your extraordinary life is not going to be the same as anyone else's. It's not going to be the same as mine. It's not going to be the same as Lisa's. It's not going to be the same as Tamara's. It's going to be your extraordinary life. And how that looks for you is unique to you. So this week, perhaps towards the end of the week, you might be feeling a little bit like meh, ho-hum about your world, about your life, especially for us down here in the Southern Hemisphere. We're now in winter, and some people really do suffer the winter blues. So start having a look at, what do you really wish to create for the next 6 months? What is in your desires list? What things light you up and make you feel awesome? And what yummy things can you start bringing into your world on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that will give you something to look forward to, that'll make you feel like, oh God, I am really living life. So for me today, that was getting my car detailed. I didn't have to do it. I had somebody else come in with all the professional stuff and just do an absolutely brilliant job. And I just got to stand around, and in actual fact, I swept the front yard because this was a job that has been put off for a few weeks. So it was like, cool, he's doing that. I'm paying him to do that. How lucky am I that I now have enough cash floating around that I can pay somebody to hand detail my car. Like, that is amazing. And I get the freedom to then, and freedom of space to not only stand around and have a chat and a coffee, but also sweep my front yard. Like, how cool is that? On my front porch. So super cool. To me, that's living an extraordinary life, when I can pay people to do great things and treat the things around me with respect and honor. Like, that's living my extraordinary life. The fifth card that we have today, before we have our yummy card, is to ground yourself. And this is a really interesting one to me. So it's like, if you're feeling towards the end of the week that you're starting to feel a bit disconnected, you feel tired and cranky, and you're feeling like, oh my God, would just Patricia in the corner just shut up. She's driving me absolutely batshit crazy. That's probably a pretty good sign that it's time to connect in with Mother Earth and Father Sky. Do some breath work, do some breathing. You don't have to make it complicated, just, and then and expand out. And sometimes even visualizing, this has just popped into my head, so I've obviously got to say it. Sometimes it's fun to visualize being a tree. So actually imagining that your feet are going down into the earth, like the roots, and coming up. The body is the trunk, and then we may even do that in tonight's meditation. Do some tree work, because that's super fun, and you can feel a lot of strength, but also really deeply connected to Mother Earth when you do that. So ground yourself this week. be aware that if your ears start playing up for any funny reason, and it might feel like you have water or ear bubbles or things like that, maybe they get a bit sore or stuff like that, take that as a note that your team is talking to you and that your clairaudience skills are ramping up, which is awesome. Hi, Julie. Be aware that if you start getting a little cranky, grab your watermelon and play with your inner child again this week. Connect to the divine, using your breath work, expanding out, come back to your heart space. If you're feeling a little cranky, and getting the feeling that there's going to be some cranky this week, but it doesn't have to be. And these are sort of like every single one of these cards this week is like a little tool to say, hey, you don't have to be cranky. If you're feeling like this, if you're feeling like your ears are going funky, like just have some gratitude for them and expand out your ears so that you can have more allowance with that. The inner child, the divine, the extraordinary life, grounding yourself. Each one of those is a little tool. How cool is that? Your teams are amazing. They're giving you information all the time. And I'm so grateful that we've had the chance to play with those cards today. Moving some energy. Respect. So what I heard with that was respect the process. Okay. As we are all going through big upgrades, some more of a bigger upgrade than others. This came up in the session today. So seeing as it's popped into my mind, I'm obviously meant to talk about it. So as we have spoken about many, many times, we as a collective, not just us on this show right now, as a whole planet full of people, we as a collective are being not just gently suggested, it might be time to upgrade to 5D. Somehow, some way, it might be time. Yeah. That has been the gentle suggestion for about, I'm hearing 20 years. It has gone from that to now being, all right, motherfuckers, it's time to upgrade and we're going to make you do it because you guys are not doing it by yourselves. So let's fucking go. And that is why we're getting all of these solar flares happening at the moment. That's why we're getting a lot of the different planetary conjunctions and, all the different retrogrades and all that sort of stuff. It is basically putting the pressure on us and making us move, whether we fucking like it or not. Now, for those of us who have been on this journey for quite a while now, the intensity of that pressure is a hell of a lot for us because we're already there. Like we're already making huge leaps and bounds, if not already floating mostly in the 5D, and then sort of 5D we sort of float down to 4, and then 3 we still play a little bit down there, but then we're floating back up to 5. So we're being floaters at the moment. And the thing is, when we are sitting in that 3 to 4D space, we really feel the intensity of this big push by the universe to get us going because it's time. We are so done with 3D. Our journey with 3D world is done. The playing pieces, the board has been packed away, and it's almost like, how when you go to a party and there's always those few people that are just lagging behind and just not really doing, like getting the hint. It's time to go. Or you're at a restaurant and you've got that last table of people who are just not reading the room. Like all the other chairs are up, they're all away. Even the little vacuum cleaner is coming out. And that's pretty much where we're at right now. We're at the vacuum cleaner stage of packing up a restaurant. And the people who are not getting the message that it is time to upgrade, the intensity is getting louder and louder and louder for those people. So for the rest of us who have already, like, we've got the message, we got the memo, we left the restaurant already, right? We're still feeling it a little bit. And so it can get really intense. So you might feel stuff through your third eye. You might feel stuff through your throat area. And you might go, oh God, this feels like a cold. This feels like a flu. This feels like a whatever. More than likely, it's just you're so super aware of this upgrade stuff that's going on. And it's time to just expand out, create some allowance, use that unconditional love, use that white light through your body, that beautiful white opalescent light, just to give you some ease. And so then you can be in a more calm space, and for the others that are still getting the big boot up the butt, that might be a bit cranky about it because they're just really enjoying being in the 3D. But it's like, sorry, mate, the restaurant's closing. It's time to go. Go find it. You come back. You can come back another night, but maybe not, because I think the business is closing down. So Christina said, we just went through the parade of planets, lining is lining up. Yes, exactly. We did earlier this week. I did see that popping up in one of the posts somewhere. And there's some Alex Miles I saw in the post that Melinda did was mentioned something about things are easing up, which is nice, but it's still very intense right now. So yeah. Tamara, darling, gorgeous woman, can you please pop your question in the chat? Because I don't think I saw it. Nope. That was kind of why I went on that big gold story about stuff. Yeah, it is really intense. Hi, can you put your question in the chat, please? Even to the point where last week, I was actually supposed to get my car detailed last week. And the day before, was it 2 days before, I'd messaged him and said, look, the weather's supposed to be really terrible, and I don't want you getting wet and feeling cold and wet for the period of time. So, I'd rather we put it off till maybe another week. And so he worked with me brilliantly on that. And he's like, yeah, it's just, and I was really apologetic about it. And he's like, look, you can't control the weather. And he goes, it's just this time of year. That's what you got to work with. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you. But the best thing in the world happened because of that. I got to spend the majority of the day in my pajamas and in bed. I haven't done a bed pajama day in, years, I think. It's been a really, really long time. And it was the absolute most perfect thing that I could have done. It was really allowing my feminine side to be present and to take care of my body and to nourish and nurture me. So that's where you might be finding that divine side is starting to come out. So cool. All right, Tamara, thank you. All right. Let's pop that up there. And specifically around your purpose. Not your porpoise. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Apparently, all that talking about upgrading and being an allowance of has activated my nose. So, with that in mind, we're just going to take a small deviation for a second, and I'm going to tell you about these ones. There we go. Thank you. Because you guys don't want to see me blow my nose. That's not pleasant for you all. Right. Okie dokie. Okay, Tamara. So the first card that came out was this one here. So this is from Ina Segal's The Secret Language of Your Soul. And this one was actually reversed. So as far as information for you and how you're moving on to this next stage, at the moment it seems that you might be slowing this capacity down. And the capacity is your concentration. Focus and grow into what could be is the slower thing, is the subtitle on that one. So deepening your concentration, it's a funny one. So what I'm actually getting with that one is that it's almost like there's so many options for you that your brain has become a little bit scattered. And there's a little bit like, oh, but which one do I choose? And because you haven't quite figured out which way you're going too logical about it. So what I'm sensing is that you're up here in your thinky stinky mind and trying to be like, oh, but what's the pros and cons of this? And what's the pros and cons of that? And what's a... I'm just getting a lot of busyness. And the concentration that I'm sensing with this one is your intuition. And really just taking that moment to pause and concentrate on what is true for you, what is going to create the most for you moving forward. And the key points in there is that the focus and grow into what could be. So when we start looking at, okay, say if you've got 3 different options and all of them look great, but for different reasons, which one do you choose? What are your tools that you use to tap into your collective awareness of what it would create in 1,000 years' time if you choose that? And it's quite interesting when you start working from the collective thought rather than the me thought. So this is the difference between a 3D thinking and a 5D thinking. So 5D is the awareness of what you do to one, you do to all. Okay. So if you choose something that is going to create the most for the collective, well, that's going to be great for everybody, including you. But if you do something that's only going to serve you and not serve the collective, in essence, it comes round to not serve you either. So it's kind of like the difference between somebody who is in business because they really, really love what they do. They love their product. They love the whatever thing, service that they're doing. They really love it. They have a lot of heart in it, versus somebody who is doing it for just the money. Doing it for just the money, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder for that person to receive the same amount of satisfaction, of gratitude, of all those other things that will just come so easily to the first person. So look at what will serve the greater collective. Look at your awareness, use your tools, however you do that, whether that be muscle testing, whether it be dowsing with the crystal, whether it be whatever works for you. There's all sorts of different types of muscle testing. I like to use my body as a pendulum. I also use another tool called the light and heavy tool, where I tune in with my body, and I've got a couple of different spots that I do that with. I tap into my feminine awareness and see what she says. And it's all like I've got a 3-way checking system. And that's without even using my pendulum. So it's interesting. It's interesting. Figure out which way is going to work for you, and then you'll be able to know more surely which direction that you're going to be going. Okay, the next card that we've got for you is to assimilate your experiences, incorporate and invigorate. So this next choice that you're going to make is going to be something that will bring together multiple things that you've already done into one beautiful little package. So to give you an example of that, I do specialist cleaning Monday to Thursday. Now that job is a beautiful combination of my 13 years of the building industry. It's a beautiful combination of my training in childcare. And it's also because of the behavioral development side of things, because there's a lot of times that I'm working with people who are hoarders and live in squalor and have those developmental delays. Then there's also the 6.5 years that I spent in disability as a carer, as a personal carer. So it's a really beautiful mix of all of those things, plus all of my years of retail experience and all that sort of stuff. That is all combined into my job as a specialist cleaner. I love it. And I get to drive. And I love driving. So who would have thought, right? So have a look at your experiences and see how you can combine all of your past experience into a package or into a role that makes it just all of that just click. click in a beautiful way. You'll know it. As soon as it pops up, you'll go, that. Yes, that. For me, it was listening to an Audible book about 11 months before I went for the cleaner job because I was busy doing renovations. But it was listening to an Audible book called The Trauma Cleaner. And it was the Sandra Pankhurst story. And it was brilliant. And it sat with me for all those months. And I could feel it. It was just like tugging away at my ear going, you want to do this next. It's great. The next one is let go of comparison, embrace the unique you. Then we get into this trap so often. This trap of, oh, but I don't think I can do it as well as blah, blah, blah. Person A, B, C, D, E that you know that is doing something that is similar to what you do. Now, if you're going to work in an already established company, it's a bit of a different space because there is always going to be comparison, but it won't be by you. It'll be by the people that are around you, whether it be your co-workers or your clients. Your uniqueness, your sparkle, your magic, your friendliness, your skills are what will keep people coming back and asking for you specifically. Not because you compare yourself to anybody else, but because other people will compare you to you. So be you. Just be that beautiful, amazing, sparkly, gorgeous, delicious person that you are. Be confident in that. Do the best work that you can possibly be. And come from that heart-centered space. And everything else will be rosy. It'll just be so much ease. I used to compare myself to other people that I was working with, but I don't anymore. I'm just like, we do things differently. If you like what I do, awesome. If you prefer what they do, awesome. And I'm just like, we're just here as a team. And that's 5D thinking too, okay? For me, it's about helping women release the people pleaser, find peace within the chaos by feeling safe in their bodies and rediscovering who they are and what they want. Okay, so what they desire. Awesome. Beautiful. And I'm curious, how are you going to achieve that? How are you helping these women to release their people pleaser side? Because that's a deep one. And interestingly, there's a book that we're doing in the book club at the moment called Attached. And the funny thing about when you start learning about attachment styles, which I'm sure you already know about, if you don't, pick up that book and read it. And you will find out that a lot of the people-pleasing side comes from an anxious attachment style. And that goes right back to childhood. So it's a lot of that childhood trauma stuff. Gotta love it. The next card for you is speak with loving kindness because words matter. And this links in with the comparison one. Okay. So there's a lot of healers out there. There's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of life coaches out there. Your point of difference will be the words you use that come from your heart. You can observe what other people are doing and see how it lands with you. With the work that I do in this role as, me from crafting possibilities. When I go to psychic fairs and things like that, and even online a little bit, I don't follow really anybody too much in this world online. But when I'm out and about in the world and I see people doing psychic stuff, and I'm just like, be aware of what it feels like from the client's point of view. Be aware of, and you see the Facebook ads and shit pop up. See what grabs you. See what sparks your interest. What posts, what fonts, what combination of things come together to make you go, oh, that. So I'll give you an example. Back in 2019, I realized I was once again had brought in a few different people into my world that were a little bit narcissistic. And I was just so done. I was absolutely so flippin' done with it all. And I put out the call to the universe and I just said, whatever it takes, whatever I have to do. But I was a bit more forceful with my words because I was making that demand, right? To heal this part of me that is bringing in the narcissism, whatever it is, I'm prepared to do it. About 2 or 3 days later, there was a Facebook ad for a couple in Queensland. And they said the tagline, the thing at the front of the ad, which made me click on it and go, was the top 5 ways that women attract narcissistic men into their life. Bam. I put out the call, universe answered. But this couple, they were amazing. They had an incredible program and it helped me heal a lot, the majority of my trauma around narcissism. And the course that they'd created was actually about finding your soulmate. And I wasn't interested in finding my soulmate at that time. I was just interested in healing this narcissistic stuff because I knew there was a lot of trauma sitting under there. And I'd done a lot of work with it, but now it was time to really knock it on the head because I was just so done. I was so done. And I was able to recognize areas in my life where I had brought that in, the narcissism in. And I was choosing to be narcissistic, but not to people. I was choosing narcissism with my bank accounts and my business. It's not always straightforward, Hi, Danny. Gotta love the warm weather of Queensland, huh? All right. So your next card that you've got is, and it's upside down. So you're actually blocking this. And it is to act with courage. So let your legs guide you, which is an interesting turn of phrase, isn't it? So what I'm seeing here is the encouragement that you require is deep in your belly. When you sit in your heart space and you allow that energy, that beautiful, flowy energy. It's cold at the moment, but yeah, definitely. All right. I live in Mount Barker. It is currently 7 degrees. And we are heading for a very balmy 4 degrees tonight. I bet you it's not that cold in Queensland. All right. So back to Tamara. When we are blocking our courage, it's because we're not tapping into our heart enough. And it's like, it does take courage to step out and do something new. But just don't get overwhelmed with the bigger all the steps that are required. Look at what you're wishing to create. You've already mentioned it in the chat here, right? Focus on that. Focus on how good it would feel for somebody to message you and go, oh, thank you so much for this session, this course, this workshop that you've done. I feel amazing, and I really know that I can tackle this people-pleasing side of me. I feel safe and confident in my body. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is going to be part of the key of finding your confidence. So I know that every time I get feedback and it's like, hey, this went really well, or that feels amazing, or whatever, it gives me confidence. And every now and then you might come across somebody who's like a little bit, and you know what? When we focus on what did I learn here, rather than, and going into resistance and reaction, that also gives you confidence. Feedback is awesome. Positive and negative is awesome because it gives you a chance to grow. So be in the growth space, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you'll be fine. So yeah, this is actually, it's a really positive reading. Lots of little hints and tips in there. Just be you. Like, don't even think about what other people are doing, and except if you want to have a little bit of inspiration, but more of a what not to do. That's what I'm hearing from your team, is like, if you wish to compare, that's okay, but it's more about information gathering of what not to do so that you know what's going to create the most for your people. Yes, Kim, 4 degrees. Okay, come on, yummy card. Which one are you choosing? Okay, cool. Whee! So the card that you've got is frequency. It's an interesting card to get, right? Your frequency, your vibration will attract your ideal clients to you. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there. And when you have like that beautiful description of what you're wishing to provide as a service, that, yeah, you've got a few key points in there and a few little key pain points as well. And all you have to do is get the right platform for you, and you'll just fly. You'll fly with that, love. So well done. Trust in your frequency, trust in your heart, trust in your vision, and everything will flow beautifully. It's very, very positive. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. Thank you for being here, Tamara. Thank you for your donation. Find You Fridays and Crafting Possibilities is so grateful. You keep us running. So I am incredibly grateful for you, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Thank you. Oh, Kim. Oh, sweetheart. Tamara, I'm also getting with you. I don't know if you're artistic at all, but I'm just seeing some really big, beautiful images coming out, like big heart space and like this. Oh gosh, how do I describe this? You might even wish to have a look at, I don't know if you have Canva, but Canva has, they're trialing at the moment, or they're just sort of starting to play with AI design type stuff. And you can put in a bunch of keywords and it'll come up with images for you to play with. So it's either that or you're going to physically paint. There's something that I'm just seeing with you that it's going to have your heart in it though, and it's going to be a decent sized piece of art that is for you, and you're going to create it, whether it be with brushes or your fingers or something like that, but there's something for you in that. So yeah, interesting. And as you work through the images of this and placing your energy into it, it really, it's like it's a grounding inspiration point, a bouncing point, a landing point for that energy that you can then use for your business, for your steps moving forwards. There's some really big energy with that. Hope that helps. Hope it makes sense. Aw, Kim, you're a little sweetheart. Thank you. You know, I was just happy. I was just happy to do it for you, Kim, and your beautiful mum. It's just for sake of privacy and all of that sort of thing. Just please know that it was an honor and a privilege to be able to work with you, Kim. And I love the fact that we've connected and that you are finding more joyousness in your life because of the magic that we have created together, the space that we have created together. And yes, we've had the contributions of a couple of other people floating in and out too. But given the density that was there before and where you guys are at now, like that just makes me smile, like all the way down to the bottom of my toes and my fingers. Like it's just, it makes me feel so, so good. And that's why I did it, because I know that you guys appreciate it. And I know that you really, really required it, because it's tough having done what we did. Okay. So yeah, I'm sure he probably thinks that it is a new bedroom. So yes, you're very, very welcome. And I appreciate you very much. And I thank you for being so willing to shift, change, grow, be uncomfortable, and move through the process. It was so beautiful to see. And Kim, you gave me that little boost of, yeah, I do know what I'm doing. And I'm so grateful that I can work with clients so well to achieve the results that are required. So thank you. Yes, would have been a bloody cold winter otherwise, I think. All right, Christine, I know that your question, you love these questions for me. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. There we go. Cool. All right. 2 seconds. I do love it, Christine. You get me to bring out my crystals, my pendulums. I love it. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is, let's see if I can find it. That's why I'm picking this one. Okay. So this pendulum is green adventuring. So you remember how I was talking about the vibrations of certain crystals and how they are sort of attuned to doing certain things. And I was like, why am I choosing the green adventuring like this one as opposed to the carnelian? And the reason why is because it is one of the luckiest of all the crystals, especially when it comes to manifesting prosperity and wealth. Green adventuring brings winning energy that makes it an ally for increasing chances in any situation, such as dating, relationships, tax audits, or even landing a promotion or a pay rise. Green adventuring brings the energy of success and opportunity. So, given what you're asking about, it makes sense as to why the green adventuring is asking to come out and play. So quite clearly, my awareness about certain crystals having more of a frequency, attunement, a certain, I guess, bias, if you prefer, towards you do it like your questions. So if I was to turn around and ask this particular crystal about health, for example, it's not necessarily going to give as strong an answer. It won't give a completely opposite answer, but it won't be as strong. This is my own awareness of how I'm working with these crystals. Whereas if I was to, and as we're going to do today, we're going to ask about the rent to the man or to the lady. And so we're going to ask that about that because it's more focused on what's going to create the greatest success for you. It's kind of like if we've got a question about business, we're not necessarily going to, like in real estate business, at that, we're not necessarily going to ask our dentist or our GP about real estate business. Just the same as you're not necessarily going to ask your dentist or your GP about an electrical problem in your car and in your house. Like, it's about, they may know a little bit about it, or they may know somebody who can do the work for you, but it's not going to be the greatest or the most confident yes or no. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right. So let us have a look. If I go up high enough, you all should maybe be able to see it as well. Okay. Just asking for the yes. Cool. And now you'll know. Oh, back to center, please. Okay, truth. The rent to the man. Truth, the rent to the lady. Okay. So what we've got there, I asked for truth, the rent to the man, or truth, the rent to the lady. And it came out pretty clearly that the man is the way to go for you. Okay. So, no. I might be one of a kind, Kim, and that is definitely a wonderful thing and an attribute to have. So, yeah. Maybe get yourself some green adventuring, Christine. Green adventuring, Christine. It rhymes so beautifully. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yeah. It took me all night to find you. I'm glad I did. Yay, Catherine. Hi. Just a yummy card for you. So yeah, it's can be quite easily confused with jade. Don't get confused with jade. Jade's different again. Green adventuring. I think that's correct. How to spell that? Hey, and oh, jeepers. Adventuring. There we go. Cool. Let me find your yummy card, Christine. That does not make any sense whatsoever. Okay. So your yummy cards are actually two. And the first one that came out was sharing. And I was like, sharing what? And then the next one was healing. So the healing that you're doing, Christine, at the moment, the the abilities that you are embracing, the things that you are releasing at the moment, the toxicity, all of that sort of stuff. It's almost like your team is asking you to write it down so that you can share your experiences later. There's some really key moments that are happening in your world at the moment that are going to be useful teaching tools later. And so that's what they're asking for you to do. So write things down, do journaling, do those things that where you're finding these big changes that are happening, the things that are coming up, the even the trauma stuff that's coming up right now that is like removing out of your body. Diary note it. and you can use it as reference notes later. There's a lot there. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you for your contribution, Christine. Crafting Possibilities and Find Your Fridays are so grateful for you. All right. Who's next? Juanita. Yes. So, Juanita, could you please put your question in the chat? That would be amazing. So, there's and I'm not sure if you've found this in your studies yet. There's a concept called the wounded healer. And the wounded healer is something that came up in my holistic counseling studies. And it is where it's the concept that as a healer, if you have already healed yourself or been healed with a certain trauma, then you have more depth of understanding and integration than somebody who has come from a space of book smarts. So it's like that street smarts versus book smarts thing. And the wounded healer is way more powerful and potent in being able to connect with clients. Like you can create rapport so much faster and quicker as a wounded healer than being somebody who's just read about stuff from books. This is where experience is really, really crucial. And if you wish to have your point of difference is being able to make those connections really quickly, then that will definitely help. So write that stuff down, because quite often we get to this point in our journey where we're moving through it. We're just processing really quickly and we don't even think about it anymore because it's done, right? And it's not until you're faced with somebody who is dealing currently with something that you have previously dealt with that sometimes any other little unresolved bits might come up for you. And then it's like, oh shit, that's sitting there. But then you can go back over those notes and go, actually, I did deal with that. Or, that's a little piece that I'd kind of pushed under the carpet and now it's time to bring it up. I can review that and go, oh, wow, that's really helpful. And then you can also look at the tools that you used at that time to deal with your stuff and pass that on to your clients. It's really, really quite an amazing thing to do. So, yeah. I feel like I'm in Oz with Glenda the witch as to your guidance. Aw. Glenda the good witch. I did like Glenda the good witch. That's a very big compliment. Thank you. My blanket has slipped. Ugh. My beautiful blanket that was made for me. Alright. Juanita. Are you still floating around, my love? Yes, book smarts versus emotional intelligence and street smarts. Yes. In that one sentence, you just described me and my mother. Do you have a particular question that you would like to ask, Juanita? So my mum is very much a book smarts person, and has not so much emotional intelligence, whereas I am a lot heavier on the emotional intelligence side. And yes, I've still got book smarts too, but there's a lot more street smarts that I managed to gather because my life journey has been completely different to my mum. And it's really funny because for the longest time, I used to judge my mum terribly for not being able to connect with me in the way that I would like. So, excuse me. So I was, oh, okay, Juanita, thank you. I'll let her come in if she chooses to. So it wasn't until I was actually doing my holistic counseling course and we was doing a unit on numerology. And because with holistic counseling, you dabble into all sorts of different modalities. And so we were doing numerology, and that was when I realized that my mother's life path number and mine are exactly the same. We're both a number 5. And I was like, but how could that possibly be? And because people who know us both go, you're just so different from your mum. And it's not because we're different star signs. I'm the 12th of April. She's 13th of April. There's not even a day between us. And what I realized was when I looked at that, interesting. Okay. Thank you, Juanita. What I realized in that moment is that when you look at the attributes of a life path number of 5, a lot of the more dense, heavy, hard elements were my mum, and a lot more of the light, fluffy, emotional intelligence type stuff was me. So between the two of us, we actually balanced out within the home a life path number of 5. And there was some that was crossing over between both, but I was just like, wow, how lucky was I that I didn't have to have all of those heavy elements sitting within me because my mum had already taken up that task. How cool is that? Like, so grateful. And that moment there gave me such a huge opening to gratitude for my mum and to realize a few other things as well. That was all energetically, spiritually based. But it gave me that massive door opening to no longer be judging my mum for not being how I wished her to be. She was how she was designed to be and how she was meant to be. And to give me the best possible foundation to get out and do what I needed to do in the world. So lucky, very lucky. All right. Even though it took me more than 40 years to realize that. just putting that out there. So if anybody who is watching or listening right now is struggling with their parents and like you guys just don't connect, they don't understand you, you're right. They don't. And that's okay. Because what you'll probably find is that they are some of those ones that I was talking about that are still sitting back in the 3D world, and they're going to be getting the big shove, whereas you're probably not. You're probably floating up between 3 and 5. And how can you comprehend someone who's not even on the same wavelength as you? How can you? Think about it from their point of view. It's like, my God, like basically you're like little aliens to them because you don't even speak the same fucking language. Your energy language is totally different. And they don't know how to handle that. And that's okay. That's okay. So, yes. There's something in that. Inspirations. Thank you, people. Okay. Just forgive me for a moment, guys, while I'm just tuning in with Juanita's mum. She's preparing you. That's why she's coming to you in your dream state. She's preparing you for her going. So it's not as much of a shock to your system. Yeah, I think she knows that. I'm getting a sense that, yes, she does know that. And even though you haven't seen her in so long, she also knows and understands in the space that she's in at the moment that there's going to be a change in the connection. And I put it like that because it's like we know that when they move into the spirit world that it's a transition of energy, right? From the physical to the spiritual. So, and that transition can sometimes be quite abrupt. Let's see what else. Okay. So I've got the 9 of Swords that's come up. And what I'm getting with this one for you, love, is that your mum has seen your struggles. She is seeing your struggles. She's seen where you've felt really alone. And there's a point in her where she's at the moment, even though you haven't seen her in such a long, long time. It's like she feels and knows that it's not been easy for you. And this next card is like we've got the 7 of Wands. She's seen your growth and she's so proud of you. She's so very, very proud of you. She's watched you grow. She's watched you shift and change. And she's seeing you come to fruition, and it's a beautiful thing. It truly is. But she's coming up for her own judgment time now. And she knows that she's going to be heading over into her life review soon. She's got one foot there and one foot in this world. And it's not been very fun for her. She's like in that space of half pie waiting. And it's not ease. It's not ease for her, and she's not enjoying it. But she's trying to do her best to make sure that you don't have to struggle anymore. Any more than is necessary with her going. So that's what this card is about. And we got the Hanged Man. She's still got one foot tied here, but she's seeing the light. And she's ready. She is ready to go. And I'm getting a sense that you will feel when she goes. You'll know. She'll reach up and she'll untie that ankle and she'll just go. I do get the sense, though, there's something she's waiting for. And I'm just trying to ask her if it's something or someone. It's something. There's some kind of unfinished business from her end that's holding her. So what I would suggest to you is, in your meditation space, do some breathing, whatever you do. And ask her, like, connect in with her energetically, connect in with her higher self. You can do that with, use our expanding out tools and all that sort of stuff. And then you can connect in with her higher self. You just ask to speak to your mum's higher self, and she will come through. And you just say to her, Mum, what are you waiting for? What is it that you've decided is not done yet? And then whatever answer you get, you can either roll with it. Maybe she's waiting for that last bunch of flowers, or I don't know, her favorite music, or it's because it's a something, not a someone. There's something she might want. She might want like a final taste of her favorite food or something like that. Quite often when they get to that point in their journey, they lose a lot of flavor. They lose the ability to eat. So it could be something as simple as that. You'll know, though. And the other thing that you can do in that space is you say to her, it's okay to go. There is nothing left to do. It's okay. I love you. Tell her that you love her. If there's anything that is unfinished or unresolved between you two, then you can do that in that space too. You can do the forgiveness. You can send her love. You can use Ho'oponopono. There's so many things you can do. And it will just allow her the space and peace to move forward. Okay. Wasn't meant to get teary. Teary always makes me cry. It makes my nose run too. So thanks for that. Love it. Let's have a look at your yummy card. Your mum. I guess she was a tough lady. She went through a lot. But she's raised a good one with you. Even if it was indirectly. And she respects you. She respects everything you've been through. She respects your choices. Even if she didn't understand them at the time. She respects you. Thank you, Anita. And big loves and blessings to your mum at this point in her world, in her journey, and in her transition. All right. Alrighty. Cool. Kim, are you still floating around, love? So true, Julie. So true. And the thing that just popped into my mind around when we have these moments where somebody is passing, I find it brings out some really interesting stuff with people. For me, though, it brings out this incredible space of feminine. I find I drop more and more and more into that potent feminine strength, softness, huge heart opening, just the vulnerability that is required to be in that space when a loved one is passing. And it doesn't really matter if it is a family member or a pet. Like our animals, when they go, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but quite honestly, I feel like our pets are almost worse than a family member when they go, because we've been able to be our true, honest selves with them. We are able to have our tears and our laughter, and they have held so much space for us. So when they go, it's like we've lost our best friend. Our best friends are no longer physically with us. The most beautiful thing is when we are able to have those moments in our life. As the good old saying, it's better to have loved than lost than never to have loved at all. And the cool thing is the more and more and more that you pop into 5D, the more and more and more that you'll be able to connect with your soul connections, such as your loved ones who have passed away. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful world because they're all part of the collective, no matter what. No, Kim. You're not going to get out of that easily. I am going to pull for you a goddess card. Because this isn't me saying thank you. This is Find You Fridays and Crafting Possibilities thanking you. So we'll have a little bit of story time. Let's see. Who would like to send a message to Kim, please? Interesting. Just tuning in, Kim. I love it when you guys expand my mediumship skills. So, Kim, your dad, he's absolutely still around. And the energy, the feeling that I'm getting from him at the moment is that he is so relieved and proud of everything that you've achieved with your mum and in the home. And he doesn't care that the stuff is gone. He's fine with it. He was concerned about you guys and how you were before. So he's relieved. He's just, all I'm feeling is a big space of warmth, and just, it's almost like right now there's what's that? Okay, he's showing me there's like a real weird fuzziness around the top of his brain. It's like just sort of right here. Kind of like a pressure almost. So he's flipped from being, just really so super proud of you, and that's still there and just full of love for you both. So I'm just working on seeing what that is. It's almost like his brain hurt before he passed. I can't remember what he passed from. I don't recall what you said around that. I don't even know if we actually talked about that. But it feels like what he's showing me at the moment is like it just feels like he just feels really like the brain has just gone off. Okay, I'm asking him to come back to the present now, to leave that part of his journey and to focus back on you guys. So asking if there's anything else he would like to communicate to you two, to you specifically. There's just this big love in his world, and it's just there is also a tiny little bit of regret floating in there of he wishes he was still here to be able to help you with your mum, because he can see how much of a strain it's being. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Bad eyes. Yeah, it was a very strange feeling, but I've asked him to be present in the now, so he's left his body behind. He's not showing me any of that anymore, which is nice. Don't like feeling like my brain's exploding. Yeah, it feels like there's a was there a nickname that he used to use for you, and it maybe started with the letter P? It's a bit like Pumpkin or Poppet or something like that. I'm not sure. Yes, he does. He's regretful that he can't be there physically to help you. But he's also just said that if you ever require a little bit of an extra energy boost, you can ask him, and you can say, "Hey, Dad, please help," and he will energetically give you a bit of a boost, a little bit of a booster shot, because he is able to do little things like that for you. He's aware that you promised to look after your mum. At that time, he didn't know just how hard that was going to be on you. And he said it's okay to keep asking for help. It's okay. You're not letting him down by having a carer come in and give you some relief. It's okay. He's yeah. So yeah. Yes to all of that. And he's watching. He's watching. So if you're moving around the house and stuff and you get funny tingles down your right hand side, and he's showing me down the back here, it's almost like he's got his little hand, his big hand on your back, and he's just saying, it's okay, I'm here. I'm here with you and I'm here to support you. So if you ever feel like that and feel sort of like a funny kind of itchy, tingly feeling, it might be warm or cold. That's where he is showing you he's there. Okay. Yeah, he can and he will help. Okay. Okay. So the goddess card that you got was Isis. Now, Isis is a very, very potent goddess. It's one that a lot of people know. And I was wondering why you got Isis. And this is to do with sacred contracts. And the little phrase that it says is rise into your power and purpose, heal the mother wound. This is why it's your job to look after your mum. There's many lifetimes where you two have been mother-daughter in various formations of that. And this lifetime is the final time that will happen. This lifetime is the lifetime where all of the debt will be paid. So you can sort of rest easy knowing that there is a greater purpose and a greater reason as to why you are in the situation you are in. And that you are indeed doing exactly what you're meant to do so that you can be free in your next life. You both can, without anything hanging over either of you moving forwards. All those contracts, all of the obligations and the expectations and everything are all being karmically cleared up in this lifetime between you. And that's why sometimes it's so fucking hard, because some of those contracts and karma contracts are complex. But just keep being in that space of unconditional love for you and your mum. And also remember to keep looking after you as well. Ask your dad to come in and help. And he will. Okay, he'll give you some support. All right, my lovelies. Let us do a quick round of gratitude poetry. So thank you, Kim. I am grateful for you. Thank you for expanding my skills some more. So, for those of you who don't remember, or if you do, the first number between 1 and 88, put that in the chat now. All righty. Melinda. 53. Keep your gorgeous smile shining and your wonderful eyes bright. Keep your arms ready and your heart open. Keep your mind receptive and your soul peaceful. This is a poem about upgrading for you, and it's about remembering your uniqueness and being that space of openness. It's like, make your heart wide and your smile big and your eyes sparkling, and just being that space of peacefulness, because that's how you will continue to create so much more magic in the world. So keep doing that. And even in the days where things get hard and tricky, just keep being your magical, wonderful, beautiful, sparkly self, because that is your gift to the world. So thank you, Melinda. 97. There is no 97. 1 and 88. Talk about throw me for a second. Thanks, Chris. Julie. $97. 72. Who knew? I didn't know. Mediumship makes me cry. 72 for Julie. Morning sky. The fiery red sky reflected from the golden glow below. The red blip distracting from the flow of gold, easing out into the valley like a long snake unfurling from slumber. All right, Julie. As soon as I open up this poem for you, I was seeing you in your photography. And it's time for you to get out and do some more of that if you're not doing so already, and to do more with your photography. There's some really spectacular shots that you are yet to take, and it is something to do with the morning sky. So it's like your sunrises and things like that. But there's something that you've been it's been tugging away at the back of your brain for a little bit, of, oh gosh, I'd really like to go insert place name here, but I haven't got insert excuse here. Now's the time to start working on that. The place and the magic of it is calling to you, and it's time to start listening. I cut people's heads off. Well, you don't have to worry about that if you're taking scenery. Oh dear, you're so funny. All right, Christine. 75. The cleansing tears. The tears are welling, and for once they are for joy and not sorrow. The smile that accompanies them is in stark contradiction to what the tears have meant before. They are washing away all the hurt and the heartache, cleansing my soul and leaving nothing but the pure love that I feel. That one's pretty good. That one's pretty obvious, Christine. This is just a confirmation that what you're going through at the moment is clearing away a lot of those old energies, and it's okay to let them go. It's totally okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let these energies go. It's absolutely okay. As we've seen, crying tonight, yay. And it's important to balance out those hormones. It's important to let those toxins out of your body. And sometimes the only way that can be done is through tears. So this is actually quite a wonderful reconfirmation of the process that you're going through at the moment, the upgrading that you're doing, the releasing, the healing, and all of that is going to be able to bring through your next most delicious, amazing, ideal partner for you. Okay. So congratulations. Keep going. You got this. Catherine, number 64. 64. Ooh, interesting for you, my dear. So, to my loved ones, when I die, may I have lived a full and long life. May I have received a lovely family. May I have cried, laughed, and loved. May I have listened to beautiful music. May my family and my friends remember me. May they always think of the happy times. May they not dwell on the sadness for too long. Catherine. Here's a little bit of home play for you if you haven't thought about this already. And this isn't to be morbid. How would you like to be remembered? What would you like your funeral to be like? What sort of things would you like to be included? And are you aware of something called a living will? There is, when we get to a certain point, and it can be at any point in our lives, there is a moment where we really feel our mortality. And I mean, that one was written, 20 years ago. And a lot of people would be going, oh gosh, 20 years ago, Lorene, you're definitely not in a space of thinking about death and dying, but quite clearly I was. And the little blurb that I've put is, my simple request is that this be read at my funeral, whenever that may be. So there's obviously something popping up in your world at the moment where it's making you look at your mortality. And it's okay to do that. There's a beautiful friend of mine called Danette. And she's a funeral celebrant. And she does these lovely things called a death cafe. And they have a group, they meet at a cafe and they have coffee, and then she has done a couple of them online, and they were really great. We got to talk about all sorts of things. She raised different questions. Have we thought about this? Have we thought about that? And asking us for our opinions. How do we handle different parts of death and dying and funerals and family and all sorts of things? So that is my question to you, is how would you like to be remembered? What sort of things would you like included so that you can make the grief process for your loved ones as easy as possible? Because that's one of the things that I noticed happens sometimes with and I'm not saying that you're old, please don't take it this way, but I have noticed some of the more older people that I am in contact with, they go, I don't want a funeral. I don't want people to, gather around to be sad about me dying. And I'm like, okay, but you're not comprehending the necessity of people to gather to grieve together. For some people, a funeral is the only time that they will fully and properly acknowledge their grief, because they're in the support of others who are in the same boat. Otherwise, they just bury it down in the bottom of their belly and they say nothing, and they just put the good old stiff upper lip on and keep moving. Yeah. So celebrate your life as well. Oh, you've still got it? Live the living heck out of it. And do everything you can possibly do to just like wake up in the morning and go, what fun thing or things am I going to do today? Indeed, having a party beforehand, enjoying getting people together. Because as you know, when people get older, they get more and more isolated. And it's harder and harder to get people together. And then I see this so often with some of my cleaning people. And, you know, they're in their 80s and their lives revolve around people coming to them, like as in carers, people being paid to come, or doctor's visits. And if they're lucky, they get to have a carer that'll take them out to the supermarket. And after that, their life is revolving around the TV. Maybe books, if they're that way inclined. Perhaps the garden. But I also know that my grandmother is, you know, she's 88 and she's living the living heck out of her life. She's still riding horses and traveling and going between New Zealand and Australia, and she's loving the heck out of her life. She wakes up every morning and she goes, right, what am I going to do today? And she still has her farm to run and all that sort of stuff. Like, she is such a huge inspiration. She's had many, many injuries thanks to horses, but she still gets up and she just keeps fucking going. She's a unique and rare breed. I know that. But maybe she can be of an inspiration to you too. Big loves, Catherine. Big, big, big loves. And also, have a party. All right. Kim, 29. The sanctuary. As each day passes, my love for you grows. I love your mind, your laughter, your body. I have never met a person who has made me feel so complete. I'll give myself to you, and I'll return the gesture twofold. I can share my deepest thoughts, feelings, and ideas, and feel no apprehension in doing so. With only a short time till I can hold you again, I am enjoying the steady growth of this feeling in my heart. If this feeling were solid, it would be enveloping my body and securing me in the warmth of love. Kim, this is to do with, as I was saying before, the relationship that you have with your mum. And while it was written for a different kind of relationship, this is really talking about the softness and the vulnerability that you two are developing with each other, of those moments where it's like you're just able to be gentle and just love each other and be in that loving space with each other. It's also an encouragement to do more of that, to be softer, to be gentler, to be in that space of vulnerability with her, to have those conversations with her around, such as what we were talking about with Catherine, death and dying, and make those conversations a little bit more normal, as in not to be morbid, but it's more of a, so mum, have you thought about what you would like? Because you know what? I would like blah, blah, blah at my funeral. And make it less stingy, those kinds of conversations. Because when everything comes to a grinding halt, and it will eventually, and I'm not saying how long, but it will eventually, you'll be able to look back on those conversations and go, oh, I know what my mum would like. And I remember having that conversation while we were sitting down and having a cup of tea, and we were just watching our favorite things on the telly, and we had these conversations. And it's much, much less stressful. Okay. So the funny thing is my ear has just decided to start playing up. So it seems that our lovely reading from the start of the show is already starting to kick in. Clear audience. Love it. Enjoy those conversations, Kim. Keep having those gentle, soft, kind, those conversations that you kind of go, hey, Mum, tell me again, how did you meet Dad? Hey, Mum, tell me again, or can you remind me? And it doesn't matter if you've heard that story a majillion times. As you know, when they go, you won't hear the story again. So making your conversations around more than health and doctors and nurses and visits and medications and all the palaver. Take those times and enjoy her. Just enjoy being with her. Okay. Chris, 19. Oh, sorry, guys. I didn't see that she had. Oh, my Lord. We've got a scammer. Awesome. That's cool. You know what that means, people? That means that we're getting popular. Oh, dearie me. Okay, delete that one. Sorry. I'm aware of where some of you ladies are at with your where you're at in your lady times, and oh, that's funny. Sorry, guys. That was just cracking me up. Why would you ask somebody, if you were truly aware, why would you ask women who are in menopause for a fertility, if they want to have a fertility pregnancy reading? Read the room, people. Read the room. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, I've deleted all those comments and I've blocked her now, but well, that person, I don't know if it was a male or a female, but oh shit, that's just made my evening. Right. Sorry, Chris. All right. Life. It can be a multitude of things. It can be happy, sad, frustrating, stressful, peaceful, or angry. At different times, one of these things seems to dominate. This can either build you up or bring you down. It's strange to think that all it takes is a person to say something nice or smile to lift your day and make it a happy one. Yet if a situation causes sadness or anger, the feeling lasts longer than one day. In a perfect world, everyone would be happy, but for now, life must be lived, and a person has to take the bad and concentrate on the good. Chris, the thing that was sticking out for this one is if a situation causes sadness or anger, the feeling lasts longer than one day. Chris, when you're not focusing on happiness, the focus tends to be on sadness or anger or disappointment or resentment or judgment or anything like that. I'm going to ask for you to please start focusing more on gratitude. Focus more on unconditional love. Focus more on connection to Mother Earth. Focus more on grounding yourself in you and the people around you that are loving and kind and gentle and wonderful and are your cheer team, and focus your attention on those sorts of people, because they're the ones that are real. They're the ones that are with you at the moment. They are the ones that are your super support team. Okay. When we start diving into things like sadness and anger and resentment and judgment and all that sort of stuff, it can bring up a lot of and accentuate and trigger anxiety and depression. So if you wish to make sure that you're not in anxiety and depression, you have to change your focus. And one of the quickest, fastest, easiest ways to do that is to focus on not only gratitude, but even if you're like, I don't know how to do gratitude, it's so simple and easy. It's I feel grateful for, or I'm so grateful for, or I'm truly grateful for. You put your thing in there and then you say because, and you give it a reason. Okay. So this is really, really important for you to focus on this beautiful body of yours. That's the easiest way to do at least 5 gratitudes every day. You can go take it right back to basics. This is how I learned way, way, way back in the day. Gosh, coming up 15-ish years ago. Maybe even a touch longer, actually, now that I think about it. I don't want to think about it. But if you're struggling to find anything to be grateful for, go back to your 5 senses. Your touch, your taste, your eyes, your hearing, your smell. Go back to that. And do one day on each one. I am so truly, and do 10 things. And I am so truly grateful for my hands because I am truly grateful for my sense of touch because I'm truly grateful for. And you can find so many things to be grateful for each one of your 5 senses. That gets you through 5 days. Okay. And then you focus on something else in your world. Like you can focus and do 1 day on your home. You can do 1 day on your vehicle if you drive. You can, if you don't drive, you can do a day on public transport. You can do a day of gratitude for a friend of yours. There's so many ways to do a day, like 10 gratitudes on a theme of a day. And you can also do gratitude. If you do your gratitudes in the evening time, you can do gratitudes for your day that you've just had. So, for example, my gratitudes for today revolved around the dude that did my car detailing. It revolved around the brooms that I used to be able to sweep out the front of my house. It revolved around the dog being really calm and not barking every 5 minutes because there were strange people floating around. It revolved around the sugar mulch that the previous people had left here that I was now able to use on my garden. It's like, thank you, thank you, thank you for all of those things. It's so much easier. And once you get into a flow of it and you do it every day for like at least 28 days, your whole world changes. And it's like, it might not, when I say your whole world changes, I mean your approach to the world changes. If you can do gratitude every day for 28 days. You talk to all those, fitness coaches and stuff. It takes 21 days to create a new habit. Because in that time, your brain rewires your neuroplasticity. Yeah, exactly. Being grateful for your body. Thank you, Julie. So many ways that we can be grateful. All right. Next one. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Chris. Juanita, number 62. Drop. 62. Ooh, interesting. You got Generation X. Funny story about Generation X, this poem. So I was living in New Zealand in Auckland and working as a sales assistant at the baby factory, which is kind of like, for you Australian folks, it's very much like baby bunting, think that sort of thing. Well, my husband worked as a traveling sales rep. He had a band with his best mate and a couple of others. I gave it a shot to write a lyrical-like piece. It was never used, but I did enjoy looking at a social situation and writing about it. So here we go. Generation X. How can we live all this hating and fighting, arguing, bitching and complaining, putting us in a deep, dark hole of self-obsession, depression, wanting to get out of something we don't know the name of, reaching out only to have our fingers chopped off. Too many tears, a river full to be exact, but still not enough to fill up this darkness and drown us. People say fix it yourself, but how can we when we don't know how or even what it is? Walking in a blur, they can't see us or don't hear us. Maybe they don't want to. They think they've heard it all before. If we make it through, would anyone notice how much pain we've been in? Probably not. Why would they want to? They would have to get involved in us, with us, and actually care about us. We are alive, but only just, hanging on with what's left of our own self-worth, helping ourselves to what others wouldn't give us, leaving behind the traitors, walking one day at a time, slowly escaping the dark hole that was our life, beginning to value us and not relying on anyone but ourselves, giving us what we needed most. So, Juanita, this is actually a really beautiful moment in your life where everything that you have traveled through before, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the awesome, they have given you a space of compassion that you didn't have before that. And yes, you have had to learn how to be self-reliant, and you've had to learn to do it for yourself, to be tenacious, to keep going and be amazing. And there's also acknowledgement here of there's some deep emotions that you haven't quite dealt with yet. And they might be coming a bit to the surface, especially with what's happening with your mum. And what you needed most, or what you require most out of all of that, because that particular one is filled with a lot of like the word resentment comes up. And escaping the deep dark hole is one of the ways that I refer to things like deep depression and a little bit of like suicidal tendencies or thoughts, where you feel like there is no other way out. It's like this one refers to that in a lot of ways, either straight down the line or slightly from the side. But you're doing really, really well. You've been through a lot, and you're doing really well. And it's okay. It's okay to soften a little bit for you too. All right. Catherine. Oh dear. Lots of middle-aged pregnancies in the group. I could midwife. Yes, you could, Catherine. See? Thank you, Juanita. Please know that you're doing an amazing job, and you all are, in this really, really wackadoodle world we're living in right now, which is just in a huge space of transition. If you're getting through and you're finding reasons to laugh each day, like that one from before, that gave me a reason to laugh. That's a good day. We've had a good day today. Yes, you have, truly. You've well and truly done your time with pregnancies. So yes, definitely at this time, with all the shifts and changes going on in the world, when you can reflect back and go, you know what, I had that moment to laugh today, or many moments to laugh, that's something to be very grateful for. Laughter shifts a truck ton of energy. And it's really interesting because the company that I work for now, in the majority, I don't know how on earth it's happened, but in the majority, the cleaners that I get to work with are all of a very similar kind of sense of humor, slightly dark, slightly sarcastic, not hurtful sarcastic. My family was hurtful sarcastic, and I didn't like that. But no, just ever so slightly sarcastic, and just enough softness and gentleness that we know that we care about each other. And whether that is partly from my own creation or just how we've been hired, all I can say is I really enjoy working for these guys and working with all of these ones. And on those days when I get to work with other people and we get to chat and laugh and tell silly jokes and, you know, all that sort of thing, it's great. It's great. Yeah, exactly, Julie. We attract them to laugh all together and release. There's one of my co-workers at the moment. So this will be a funny one for you all to, and I can show her later. She's doing a bit of a survey at the moment. And the survey of everybody is, if you have siblings, tell me in the chat below how many siblings you've got and if any of you tried to kill each other or seriously harm each other. Because her track record so far is that every person she has spoken to, including herself, has, as they were growing up as kids, all except one person have stories that they could tell of how they tried to kill their sibling or their sibling tried to kill them. And this is what I mean. We have a slightly dark sense of humor. And I think that when you are somebody who has to deal with the muck of the world like we do, you definitely do develop or have to have that slightly thicker skin where you have to just be slightly off kilter with your sense of humor. Oh, nobody wants to answer, or is it a bit of a delay? So I didn't necessarily wish to kill my brothers, but certainly the eldest of my brothers tried to kill me several times, or at least brutally maim me. He broke my bedroom door straight down the middle. And there is other times where he's wrapped me up in like we called it a squab, but like a foam mattress or a sleeping bag or something like that, and would wrap me up like a bloody burrito and try to smother me, and would get to a point where I would be going, you know, very, very, very red in the face, and I'd be like, "Ma!" You know, hardly being able to breathe, and then all of a sudden he'd get up and go away. So Juanita, my son just looks at me when he's in trouble. We laugh. I know I shouldn't, but laughing inside our bodies, inner child synchronizing, maybe. Julie said, my brother and sister don't have much hair as they wouldn't let go of each other's hair. Oh my God. I'm lucky I didn't get involved much, so I have more hair. Oh, I love it. And I was thinking about this the other day of like, why is it that that's a thing? Like, why is it that so many of us have had those kinds of instances with our siblings? And I realized it's a animalistic thing. It's a thing where, you know, you think of lion cubs and how they fight and play with each other. They nip and they, you know, they scratch and all that sort of thing. We're learning to defend ourselves. And we're learning to defend ourselves in a physical sense, but because it's our sibling, we're also learning to defend ourselves from like the psychological side. and we're learning to be a bit stronger. So perhaps fighting with your sibling is not necessarily a bad thing. It can also be a point where you can be encouraged to find compassion for your sibling, understanding. It's, and I think that's where more of the world is now. But I don't know. We were just left alone a lot when I was growing up, so there wasn't a hell of a lot of that redirection as such. It was just get outside, stop fighting. That was about where it's at. Or it was, if one of us went running up to mum, it was like, Richard did blah, blah, blah. And it would be, he would then get in trouble and get threatened with the cane. But when Dad was still around, it was, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. So crazy. Juanita, happiest moments of childhood was fighting with my twin, actually. We had so much fun destroying each other or climbing roofs. I love it. I love it. Some of my happiest moments with my brother was getting into quote unquote trouble. And that we would do crazy shit like jumping off of the veranda onto the trampoline, or that was like a bit more of a physically crazy one. But then I would do things like I'd want to escape. And so we would try to dig a hole through to China. No comprehension of just how far that would be. Took Mum many, many years to fill in our hole though, because it kept sinking. So she'd have to fill it up with more dirt. We would go and try and build stuff in the backyard and then wouldn't bring the tools inside, would forget. So Mum lost her east wing hammer out in the paddock somewhere. Well, she didn't lose it. We did. Got in big trouble for that one. I don't think we've ever lived that one down. But yeah, it's like those, one of the absolute best memories when my brother wasn't killing me, but probably I could have been killed by the school, was we would go at Christmas time and try and find a Christmas tree. I don't know how the hell we came up with this brilliant idea, but there was this plot of land behind the school, our primary school, and we decided to go climbing up around this plot of land, and then we brought the saw with us, the hand saw, and chopped down a Christmas tree, a pine tree, and we took it home on the bike. Like we just held it onto the bike and walked the bike home and set it up. And it happened 2 years in a row. And it was the third year that we were going to go out. And Mum's like, where exactly are you getting these from? And we told her. And then she just laughed. And she's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't do that, because it's kind of trespassing and stealing. Oops. It's just a pine tree. There were heaps of them there. Who's going to miss one or two? Oh dear. So little thieves. We were tree thieves. Who would have thought it? Crazy things kids do. In my day anyway. I grew up in a farming area. Juanita, the funniest, we were about 5 years old and a police officer came to our house. We were home alone, running amok. We said we were midgets to the police officer. Obviously, the officer wrote on his lunch bag and told us to give it to our mum. We couldn't read. Yeah, Julie, I agree. Who's counting the trees? I don't think anybody was counting the trees. Oh dear. But I love it. It took Mum 3 years to click. and to question, where exactly are you finding these trees? You know, I think maybe she had thought we were getting them from maybe my grandparents' place, like my grandparents' farm, because that was sort of near where we lived. But yes, I'm sure we probably could have kept doing it for quite some time and nobody would have said anything. Maybe one of the other neighbors or something would have said something eventually, but yeah. All right, talking about trees, we've come full circle back to trees. So let's do our meditation because otherwise I could just gas bag here all night and I've got things to do. All right. And you will probably need to have a good sleep. So, all right. Big deep breath in, close your eyes. And a big breath out. Another big deep breath in, bringing Mother Earth energy all the way up. And a lovely big deep breath out, bringing Father Sky energy all the way down. And now we're going to expand out our awareness, expanding out your awareness beyond your body in a big bubble, up into the sky, down into the earth, expanding out your awareness. Out beyond the size of the country that you're in, expanding out your awareness out beyond the size of the planet, out beyond the size of our solar system, out beyond the size of the galaxies, beyond the universes, and beyond wherever you've been before. Beautiful. And keeping your awareness nice and expanded out, focus on your body once more. And grab your sense of allowance, remembering that the sense of allowance takes you from being the tight, contracted little pebble at the bottom of a raging river of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and takes you to being that nice, big, fluffy cloud floating over the river, observing that river of thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and seeing it for exactly what it is. It's just energy. You don't have to be resisting and reacting to it. You can respond if required. But other than that, you can just expand and be fluffy and happy. And that's what expanding out your allowance does. So now expanding out your allowance beyond your body in a big, big bubble, up into the sky, down into the earth, expanding out all around you, expanding out your allowance, greater than the country that you're in, greater than the planet, expanding out your allowance, greater than the solar system, greater than the galaxies, greater than the universes, and beyond your awareness. Take a big deep breath in, please. And breathing out. And breathing in once more. And just feeling the shift of energy in your body already. And now I'd like you to imagine that you are a big, beautiful tree. And as this big, beautiful tree, and the reason why I'm not telling you what kind of tree to be is because I wish for you to identify the tree for yourself. What kind of tree are you? So now expanding out your awareness of being this big, beautiful tree, and being able to see that out the bottom of your feet into the ground are your beautiful, long, strong roots going into the ground through all the different layers, bringing through the information from the earth all the way through your tires, through your root system. And as your roots go down through the different layers, it's receiving lots and lots of information. Your roots are receiving information from Mother Earth. And it's almost like you can perceive what's happening in the world around you. And not only from a direct sense, it's like if you really listen closely, you can perceive the information from the other side of the world. You might instantly connect with another tree all the way over the other side of the world. And it's telling you whether it is going well or not. Beautiful. And as you imagine your legs as big, strong, a big, strong trunk of the tree, you see and feel the strength of 100,000 years of growth happening. You see the strength, the tenacity, and then as you look closer, you see the gentleness and the softness. You perceive the roughness of your bark, and as you become more and more aware of how your body resembles the tree, you see that your vulnerability is indeed your strength too, because without the vulnerability running through, the softness running through the center of the tree, the information and the nutrients that are coming up from the roots below could not make it. This is where your vulnerability is showing you how valuable it is. Beautiful. And now your awareness stretches up and up and up. And as it reaches your armpits, you perceive your arms stretching out like strong, strong tree branches. And on the end of every single tree is a as you perceive your arms stretching out, creating a canopy, and you can perceive all the other branches coming out all around you, creating this big, beautiful dome. or whatever tree you've got, however many branches are required. You see them filling up with leaves. And then you see them filling up with blossoms, if they're that kind of plant. And as those leaves are all unfurling, and then the blossoms are twinkling through every single leaf and on all the branches, you then start to receive information even more clearly from Father Sky and Mother Moon. You perceive the information from the cosmos. If you listen really closely, you'll be able to perceive and hear the information from the collective. You feel it twinkling through your leaves, allowing you to feel what it feels like to live in the 5D world. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And now we are going to bring our branches back in. Our awareness of Father Sky and of the cosmos, and all the way down through your body, through Mother Earth, and out the other side of Mother Earth. All of that awareness is still there. Beautiful. You may have received a whole bunch of information, and it may have downloaded to you through this process. You might be feeling quite lightheaded right now. You might be feeling like your heart is very full. And you might be feeling quite tired and sleepy. Having a lot of information imprinted all at once can do that while you're processing it. Beautiful. And allowing your arms to energetically drop gently to your sides. And the roots that have been all the way down into the earth to come back up, to return all that information and the love and the kindness and gentleness and the potency of Mother Earth all the way up through your feet. And as all of that information and the strength embodies and sits within your body, you feel empowered, you feel knowledgeable, you feel confident, and you feel balanced within your masculine and feminine energies. And now you're going to step out under a lovely big crystalline waterfall. And the water is going to flow over and through your body, through every cell and molecule, just washing away any energies from the 3D world which are no longer desired or required now. And now stepping out onto a big warm river rock where you feel the warmth of Mother Earth under your feet. Taking a nice big deep breath in and out. And Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up as you breathe in. And Father Sky, and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. Beautiful. When you're ready, you may open your eyes. Whew. You are all as strong as the strongest tree in your vision tonight. You are all able to connect in with the most potent of energies, and you are absolutely all able to receive the knowledge of the collective should you desire to. The awareness of what to do next, the awareness to know how to make your next step and what effect, what contribution that is going to be to the collective. You all have the ability to do this. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this incredible crew. I am so grateful to have you here. And you all brighten up my world. Even the funny scammer people. You all brighten up my world in a way that I don't know that you guys can comprehend just how much you contribute to me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. And thank you for being there with everybody else, for each other. And thank you for the laughs today. So, of course, I'll be back next week. For those of you who are floating around Adelaide or up in the hills on Sunday, I will be at the Mount Barker Psychic Fair. So it is at the Auchendoric House. Yay, I can say it now. And it starts at 10 o'clock. All right. 10 till 5 on Sunday, this Sunday. That would be the 9th. I can count. What do you know? Woohoo. All right. So until I see you next time, be bold, be brave, be you, my beautiful friends. Do something yummy and tasty for yourselves. And I'll see you very, very soon. Bye for now.